Proteomics International Laboratories Limited is a precision medical company focusing on diagnostics and early detection of certain conditions in the human body. And joining me right now to talk about the last quarterly and the commercialization of those diagnostic tests is Dr. Richard Lipscombe. Hello, Richard.
Hello, Tim. Good to be with you.
It's great to have you on. And proteomics, the study of proteins, proteomics, the company has four great diagnostic tests, which are the ProMarker D, the ProMarker Endo, ProMarker ESO, and OxyDX. Now, these are all entering, as I understand, a commercialization phase. Please tell us about that.
Yes, it's exciting times. So we have this disruptive technology platform that we've been using to develop these tests, the ProMarker platform, and that's the starting point. But now we have the tests going into that commercialization phase. D for diabetic kidney disease, that's now live in the US and Australia. Endo is coming very soon in Australia for endometriosis. The ESO test for throat cancer, esophageal cancer, that has gone live in Australia and will be moving into our US lab shortly. And the fourth test is OxyDX, that's oxidative stress, and that affects a whole range of conditions for athletes, animal welfare, and it's a measure of effectively well-being. And that test is also very close to commercialization in Australia. So a lot of things happening, a lot of moving parts. But the US is obviously the exciting game, and that's the key one for our quarterly with the progress there.
So people can go to your website and look at the full quarterly report, and we're just covering the major points here. Now, it seems to me that the US, being a much larger, 10 times much larger audience for your diagnostic tests, and Australia, you're developing both of these markets simultaneously. Why is that?
They are lockstep, but Australia slightly ahead. So everything that we're doing in the US, we've pressure tested in Australia first. We have our laboratory fully certified in Australia for clinical testing, and the go-to-market strategy with engagement with general practitioners or primary care physicians in the US and patients. The website that we built for that, mytest.health, all of that was initially proven in Australia with a view to then launching in the US. Because the US moves so quick, it does give the impression that the US has come first. And I think as the tests evolve, that will certainly be the opportunity for us. We will sell tests in Australia, but we will sell a lot more in the US. The interest in the US is already much higher. The traffic that we're seeing for our websites is phenomenally good there. And for the US, we're currently only in California. We've launched there as our pilot site and our again proof of concept and proof of viability, and that's going extremely well.
So this ties in with the diagnostic laboratory that you've set up in the States, isn't it?
It does. So we have what's known as a CLIA certified laboratory. So CLIA is their badge that they give for labs so that they can provide clinical testing. And we got that lab certified at the beginning of the year. We've launched ProMarker D in the US under that accreditation, and we'll in the process of taking our ESO test through that same certification. So that's the badge that lets us do it. And then the whole reimbursement process in the US is much more efficient, I would say, much more patient friendly and company friendly. And exciting for ProMarker D is we're on the eve we're just on the eve of getting that reimbursement pricing for our test in the US.
So in terms of the pricing and the reimbursement in the US, the American Medical Association has issued you with a bill of code. That would indicate to me that you are very, very well down the track of having the full outlet handle the billing and through the AMA registered billing code, certification code.
You are correct. We are very close. So we have the code in place. The American Medical Association has met and considered what the reimbursement figure should be, and they will announce the findings of that formally in the coming weeks. So we know from the first version that we had of ProMarker D, those who know our story will know that we had an existing test available in the US and they had a pricing of $391. We have since created a next generation version of the test, which is more efficient, equally accurate, and lets us run with same levels of precision but greater efficiency. And we have a code for that test now, which was granted. Pricing will become formal, say, in a few weeks, and will then become effective as of the 1st of January 2026. And we're expecting or hoping at least that the price will be very similar to what we've already got. So we're looking forward to that announcement and that news in the near term.
It's interesting that a lot of people don't realize just how large the scale of diabetic kidney disease is, and diabetes in general, because depending on which country you're in, the figures don't change that much from around about 9% to around about 11% of people are diabetic. So this
Yes.
disease in the US at least is going to um, qualify a lot of people for taking this test, which of course would generate significant revenue for proteomics.
Yes, and we tend to step away from that because we're so focused on the commercialization. But what's the reason that you take the test in the first place? And the answer is if you've got diabetes, and as you rightly point out, 10% of Americans have that, so that's 30 million people, and there's another 30 million people with pre-diabetes, which means they're on that path. You will be on a trajectory towards dialysis and kidney transplant. So one of the first things that goes when you have diabetes is your kidneys. They stop working, and we have a test that can predict which patients in the next 3 or 4 years will start to develop kidney disease. And if you can intervene early, then you can stop going on that path. So it's a very exciting opportunity. And we're talking now with doctors on the ground throughout California, and they're just, wow, when can we get the test? And so it's available. Obviously, once that reimbursement comes in and we go through the Medicare process, get the insurers on board, which is a current activity, then yeah, we think it's very good value. Whilst $390 sounds a lot for an Australian audience, for an American audience, that's very cheap. And compared to dialysis, which is $70,000 a year, it's a no-brainer that you take the test and work out whether you need to go on therapies or whether you're fine for the next several years.
You mentioned a little while ago a website, your website called mytest.health. Now, I think that's worth repeating, mytest.health, because someone can go online. And now, how does that? Obviously, you can't do the test on your computer, but you've got something in the order of 2,100 collection sites already in Australia. Does that tie in with the mystep.health website?
They do, yes. So the procedure in Australia, you have two parts. That mytest.health website, so that's the digital platform. If you're concerned about your diabetes and your kidney health, then you log onto that website. It will and direct you to a few options. If you qualify for the test, and it's a very simple checklist, you can have a consultation with a GP, a telehealth consult. That's all organized through the website. It's a very efficient process, and those consults can happen anytime in the 24-hour period. Once you have a prescription, then you can go to our blood collection sites, and that's part of the Helios network. So that's Dorovich, QML, Western Diagnostics, Laboratories. You can get a blood sample taken there, and that blood sample will come to our laboratory in Perth through that network. Alternatively, you can go and see your own GP. Our tests are now listed on the majority of GP practice software, so they can look up our tests. The treating physician can find out more about our tests. We have substantial publications to support the tests and physician guidelines. And from there, your doctor can say, well, this is the nearest collection site, and you go through exactly the same process. And I should emphasize that this is not just D now. We built the platform for ProMarker D for diabetic kidney disease, but in Australia, the throat cancer test, ProMarker ESO, that's available in exactly the same way now. And so for us, it's a very efficient system that we build, and it's exciting that you can go through this process in Australia, and it's exactly the same approach in the US.
So, 20 or so years, and you're on the verge of being an overnight success. What is in store for the company soon? I know that you've announced a board transition. Please explain what that means.
Yes. So February next year will be 25 years since I was one of the co-founders of the company, and I will retire at that point. The board that we have in place now, we've made a couple of appointments over the last, well, one very recently and a couple about a year ago. We have a really dynamic board who know the industry and know commercialization. And as a group, we took the decision that it's time for somebody else to come and sit in this chair and really focus on the commercialization side of our tests and take our products to the world. We've done a huge amount of development work to build tests which we know are exciting to the world and that the clinical world wants, and the skill set for commercializing those is a slightly different one from what we had as a company. We've put in a team to do the commercialization. We've added that on, and our last 5 hires have all been on the commercialization side. But probably a CEO who's been through this process before is more appropriate, and ultimately 25 years in the chair are probably getting a bit hard to work with, so it might be good for some others to come along and have a fresh face.
This is a very exciting phase for the company. It's you can look at in parallel a resources company where they do the exploration, they do the permitting, they do the environment, they do the necessary precursors, and then they start mining, and it takes many years before they pour their first bar of gold. And you're actually at the gold pouring stage right now, which is very exciting.
We are, and the nice thing for us is we've got the equivalent of 4 precious metals with diabetic kidney disease, endometriosis, esophageal cancer, and oxidative stress, all coming through the same mine. So that's a fantastic point for us to be in, and there will be others in the future as well.
Very exciting. I've been speaking with Dr. Richard Lipscombe, who's currently the managing director for Proteomics International Laboratories Limited. If you want to look them up, proteomics.com. On the Australian Stock Exchange PIQ, on the US OTC market PIQLF, and of course have a look at my test.health website where you can engage directly if you feel that you may be in danger of diabetic kidney disease. Dr. Richard Lipscombe, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Tim. Pleasure.